Actually, before I go on here, so way back in the Stone Ages, when Tax Cut and Jobs Act was first passed, people were very confused, and more importantly, HR departments were very confused. And so what ended up happening is that people's withholding was all screwed up. People heard on the news that, hey, I got this tax break, we passed this big bill and everything, but people were not seeing that in their tax refunds when they filed at the end of the year. And the reason for that is because what happens is that if you get a paycheck, a W-2 from an employer, then they do some back of the envelope calculations. They say, okay, if you make this amount and based on the filing status that you give us on your W-4, then we're going to project out and see what your taxable income would be and what your taxes would be assessed at. And for several years, even still today, screw up that calculation in light of the new tax legislation. And so what ended up happening is when people receive their take-home pay, there's very little intentionality when it comes to spending that take-home pay because they're used to getting X number of dollars as a tax refund at the end of the year. So they're like, oh, I get my $3,000 tax refund. But then when we have these big legislative changes, it's maybe not, because maybe your withholding is reflecting the new reality. Maybe it isn't. Maybe your HR department is behind. Maybe your payroll processor is using the wrong tables. All kinds of issues came up. And so at this point, hopefully, most people have adjusted to the new reality. The W-4 was changed, I don't know, 5-6 years ago into the new form because for a number of years, people were listing exemptions on their W-4, which no longer existed. So that was a giant issue. But the point is that when you earn money, especially as an employee, you want to have a mind towards what your annual income is, what your tax situation is going to be, and then you can figure out amount owed or refund or what have you. So ideally, on the front end, you would be making those calculations or working with a tax advisor to do those calculations and figure out what the real situation on the ground is. But the new situation is that the regime we've been in since 2017 is going to continue until Congress passes another law. And we get one about every 10 years. I'm sure the next administration or three will have some landmark legislation when it comes to taxes and change things around yet again. But for now, this is the lay of the land. Okay, so that's section 70-101.